My name is Chee, and today I'd like to share with you guys about this topic that I'm really passionate about because it's a topic related to the subject I'm studying right now in university, which is traditional Chinese medicine. And this is a very common therapeutic method that we use to maintain and regulate our health and also to treat illnesses. But here today, we're just going to be sharing about how you can use gua sha to help improve your health in your daily life. So let us begin. Now, gua sha in Elken, gua sha is part of the MRT, which is what we call the molecular reform therapy. And basically in molecular reform therapy, if you guys can recall, I talked about that a few weeks before, there are 4 steps that you can take to make sure that your body stays healthy. So the first step is balanced nutrition. The second step is you can increase your oxygen intake. The third step is detoxification. And the fourth step is health regulation. So gua sha, even though it's a product in the second step, it has properties related to 3 steps. The third step, which is detoxification, which is written here, it helps detoxify our body, and it can also help increase the oxygen content in our body, which is the second step, and it can promote better blood circulation, which is the fourth step. So this is gua sha. Now, what is gua sha? Gua sha is a traditional Chinese therapy, and obviously gua sha is not an English word, and it's actually 2 Chinese characters, which is gua and sha. Now, gua stands for scrape. In Chinese, it stands for scrape, and sha stands for red patches red patches on the scraped skin. So together, gua sha means a technique that is used intentionally to produce red patches called sha to release toxins from the body. So this is a simple meaning of gua sha. And as you can see in the picture on the right, these red patches are what we call sha, which is the red patches on the scraped skin. And this is the gua sha board that we use to perform this therapy. Now, in ancient China, they wouldn't use a gua sha board because not many people have access to jade or buffalo horn gua sha boards. So what they would use are stuff that you can find in common household, which is a coin or either a ceramic spoon. And what they would do is they would dip it in liquor or water and then scrape the skin surface until red patches appear. So this is what they do. But for us, we have an Elken gua sha board. Now in Elken, it's different from the traditional Chinese medicine gua sha because it's not more on the therapeutic side, it's more on how to maintain and regulate your own health. So the benefits of Elken gua sha, there are 3. Okay, the first is that it's extremely effective for health enhancement. So if you want to improve your health in any way, you can try Elken's gua sha. And it's well supported by medical theories, and it's also very practical, and it's a reliable therapy. So these are the benefits. Now the uniquenesses of Elken gua sha is that, first of all, it's very easy to learn. You don't need a degree in traditional Chinese medicine. I learned it when I was very young, and I'm sure you guys can master it in no time. Okay, and there are no side effects. You can perform it anytime, anywhere, and it works even with your clothes on. So these are the uniquenesses. Now, my story with Elken gua sha. So when I was younger, back when I was 8 or 9, my dad would tell me to help him gua sha, and I could earn some money by doing that. So that really gave me, I guess, an incentive to learn about this, and it was also very rewarding to see that my dad's health was getting better after I helped him gua sha. And so I learned it from him because he helped a lot of people gua sha before. So he has that experience, and he would tell me, okay, you can go lighter, you can go a bit harder. And I would, after trying it on him, then I would know how much pressure I have to put on his skin to make sure that it has the optimum effect. So that's how I learned through practical experience. And I also experienced the efficacy of gua sha myself. As you can see on the right, my dad was helping me gua sha back when I was about 10 years old. Yeah, and even till today, I'm still practicing, and I try to keep it a habit to help myself and my dad gua sha once every month or once every week. For myself, I would do it more often because I don't have to book any time and I'm always with myself, right? So I can help myself every single day. But then sometimes we would do it as a family activity. I would help my brother would help me, and vice versa, and we would help my dad. So I've been practicing it all the way up till today. And I've also been helping and sharing with friends and family about gua sha because, for example, the two pictures on the bottom it's one of the visitors that came to my house for lunch. And once when he came, he saw something related to gua sha, and he asked me if I could help him gua sha. And I was like, okay, I can help you. And then after the first time, you can see that the patches, the red patches on the skin are very dark in color, purplish dark red in color. And the second time was about 2 weeks later. You can see I actually applied the same amount of pressure, and I did the same thing 2 weeks apart. You can see the difference. Because the first time, it was clearly because his health wasn't as good as the second time. So from this, you can see that his health improved just within the duration of 2 weeks. So this is one of the people I helped before. Now next, these are the benefits of Elken gua sha. The first benefit is that it can promote metabolism, and also it can also help increase our oxygen intake. It can help relieve sore muscles, joint pain, and lethargy. And it can help regulate blood flow, activate cells by promoting oxygen intake to remove blood stasis. Blood stasis is blood clots in your body, in different parts of your body. If you have an old injury or an internal injury, you might have these blood clots inside your body. We call it blood stasis. Okay, yeah, so you can activate the cells and remove this blood stasis from your body. It can help strengthen your immune system. It can help promote your youthfulness and beauty. So if you'd like to learn more about these, you can search them up online. There's a lot of information about how you can use gua sha to maintain your beauty, to enhance your positive emotions, slow down your aging process, treat illnesses and diseases, and lastly, it can help pinpoint the source of the disease. Now, why is this important? Because you saw that on the previous picture, you can see on his back, it's very dark, right? So you can see whichever area is darkest, you can see that that's the part where the disease is most severe. So that's how you can pinpoint the source of a disease. Okay. Now, because I thought about some people who might already know about gua sha, and they might think that this might be a little bit boring because they already know what I'm going to be talking about today. So I'd like to share something a little bit different. I did some research today on how gua sha, we call it treatment of scraping, is being used in treating COVID-19 in China. So this paper I found it on CNKI. It expounds on the principles of the treatment of epidemic diseases by gua sha in Chinese medicine in the perspectives of how to effectively drive away evil and poison, and how to wipe off the thymus gland to restore the healthy Chee, so as to give full play of the thought of miscellaneous treatment in Chinese medicine and to increase the number of new ways to combat the pandemic. Okay, so this is really beneficial, and these are all different articles about how gua sha is currently being used in China to prevent and cure COVID-19. Now, these are some of the results from one of these studies. The final results are that on 30 patients that they did this clinical study on, they used external therapeutic methods, including gua sha, and all of them were able to recover and no patients died. So I believe that gua sha has a very powerful benefit. It can help strengthen our immune system. So this is something that most of us are concerned about right now because we're under the pandemic. So this is some information that I think you guys might be interested in. So next, I'd like to share about the tools that we use in Elken gua sha. Now, when we're performing Elken gua sha, we must have an arosa oil. Arosa oil, which is the oil, we call the lubricant that we use on the skin, so we don't hurt or injure our skin, okay? And we have the scraping board, which is the gua sha board. And then we have these reference books. Now, if you like to access these reference books online, we have them in PDF format. So you can ask the person who invited you into this meeting to share this PDF format with you, so you can see how you can gua sha for different kinds of sicknesses or illnesses, or basically those chronic illnesses like headache, migraine, constipation, and so on. So you can get this reference book from your friend. Now, let's first talk about the arosa oil. The arosa oil has these major benefits. The major effects are it has superb penetration. It can penetrate deep within your skin and help improve your metabolism and blood circulation. And it can also help detoxify your body. And it also has an aromacological effect, which is the effect that they commonly see in aromatherapy. Okay? And what's inside this arosa oil is rock rose, rosemary, ginger, lemon peel, cypress, corn mint, and lavender. And the benefits include it can help restore your peace of mind. It can help enhance your positive emotions, and it can strengthen your body's immune system. And it can also reduce the internal wind. So these are the benefits of this oil. And next, we can the scraping board. This scraping board is an essential tool that we use to produce sha on the skin, which is the red patches. And it's made from buffalo horn, and it's safe to use on skin. It doesn't cause any skin injury, and it has cold and detoxifying properties in Chinese medicine. And it doesn't conduct any electricity or heat, so it's ideal for removing body heat and toxins from your body. So now there are a few notes that you need to remember if you have your gua sha board. Do not soak it in water, and it has to be completely dry before you use it. Okay, so make sure you remember this. Okay, now let's get into the practical part. Okay, so how do we perform gua sha? There are two simple steps. First, you apply the oil, and then secondly, you hold the gua sha board and start to do it. It's that simple. Okay, you don't have to get a degree, you don't have to learn from a master or anything, you just have to come. We're going to do a practical later, so if you have your gua sha board, or you can prepare a ceramic spoon or whatever, and a lubricant, preferably arosa oil, and we can do it together at the very end of my sharing. Okay, so that's basically the two simple steps, and we recommend that you practice it once every single week to make sure that your body's health is being maintained. Okay, and now let's talk about the techniques. The techniques in gua sha include downward and outward. So these are the principles, and you have to remember that they must be in order. You have to go downward first and then outward. So for example, if I have my hand right here, right? So I have to go downward from my hand. According to this picture here, I'll use my laser pointer. That would be more convenient. My pointer. All right, I got my pointer. So from here you can see you have to go downward first, and then you go outward. So down from the center and then outward, and your hands the same as well. Your arms, you go from inward to outward and then downward to outward. Okay, so basically this is the technique that you need to remember. First downward and then you go outward. Okay, now this is another picture. It's just showing you a different picture of the back. It's the same thing. You go downward and outward, and if you're doing it on your back or your front, you go from the center and then to the sides. And your legs, you go downward and outward, the same thing. All right? Now, gua sha technique, if you want it to feel comfortable, you start by going by doing it gently, and then slowly you ask the person if they can take more pain, or if it feels okay, then you can add a little bit more pressure to make them feel more refreshed and rejuvenated. Okay, and if you want to do it in a healthcare technique to promote blood circulation, it can also help provide pain relief by improve and unblock blood flow. Now, if you want to do it the healthcare technique, you have to find there are some bumps. If you do gua sha often, you'll find that there are some bumps under your skin. Now, what you have to do is you have to target those bumps and make sure you can try to clear them out. Of course, some bumps have accumulated over 10 to 20 years, like my dad, he's an athlete, and has been on his body for decades, right? So we have to take some time to do it every single week or every single month to make sure that it slowly gets cleared from his body. So that's basically what we do. And what the sha, we call it the red patches on your skin, they actually reflect what's actually happening within your internal organs. Now, if you see on your back, the upper part, you have your heart and your lungs, and the middle part, we have our spleen, stomach, liver, and bile, which is the gallbladder, and the bottom part, we have ovaries, your uterus, kidneys, and bladder. So these sha, wherever they appear, you can see that they reflect what's inside. They reflect the organ degeneration and the illnesses on the inside. So that's why when you see a darker patch of skin, you know that, oh, there's something wrong with my heart. Something's wrong with my lung, or something's wrong with my kidney. You'll know by judging by the position, you'll know what's wrong within your body. Okay? Now, before we get into the primary meridians, I think it's really important that we understand what they are. There are 12 major meridians that run on each side of our body, one side mirroring each other. So we have similar meridians going down both sides of our limbs. And each of these meridians, they correspond to an internal organ. You're going to see this in the next few slides, okay? And then each organ, with its own physiological and invisible energy functions, it's not only dependent on the other organ systems, but also on the greater meridian network. So these meridians, even though they are different meridians, but they're actually all connected together in one great meridian network. So that's why it's really important to when you guasha all of the meridians together to make sure that it's all functioning properly. Now, what are the functions of meridians? Meridians can carry energy, blood, and information. It can provide free flow of qi. Qi flows through the meridian. Now, some of you might be wondering what qi is. Sorry, I am going a little bit too fast, but I like to explain. Qi is the simplest, smallest particle that makes up the human body in traditional Chinese medicine. Now, in conventional medicine, we call the smallest particle cells, right? Cells make up tissues, and then they make up organs and then organ systems. Similarly, qi is what makes up it's the smallest fundamental unit in our body. So that's qi. Now, meridians carry the qi and the blood to the parts of our body that need it. So this is the second function, free flow of qi. Now, the third function is it can receive and relay healing stimulation. So what this means is that you're going to have different meridians on the external part of your body. So by performing guasha on those meridians, you can relay the healing stimulation to your internal organs, thereby healing your internal organs. So that's what the functions of meridians are for. Now, guasha technique, let's talk about the meridians one by one. There are 12. So the first one is the lung meridian. The lung meridian controls how energy is consumed and impacts the whole respiratory system. And this is really important because right now, COVID-19, we know it targets the respiratory system. So if you have any friends who are suffering from COVID or they have any different lung diseases or qi deficiency or anything, they can try performing guasha on their lung meridian. And pericardium meridian. Pericardium is basically a covering for our heart. And the pericardium meridian regulates the energy that surrounds our heart. It protects the heart and also ensures proper function and emotional balance. Now, as for the heart meridian, it regulates the circulation of blood to all the organs. So this is similar to the heart in conventional biology. So these three, they are called the three yin meridians on our arms. So it's in the inner part of our arm. Okay, so these are the three yin meridians. So you can screenshot this so you can remember this diagram. All right, now next we have the yang. The yang is what's outside. Now imagine if the sun is shining down on you. What gets hit? It's the outer part that gets hit. The inner part, you can see that it's more pale, so it's what we call yin. And what's on the outside is what we call yang. So this outer part, these three are the yang meridians. The first is the intestine meridian, the small intestine meridian, and this is responsible for digestion, water absorption, nutrient absorption, and bowel functions. Triple energizer meridian, now this one's very special. It regulates the metabolism of the whole body and promotes general wellness. Now what's the triple energizer? There's no such term in conventional biology because it just doesn't exist. But in Chinese medicine, the triple energizer represents the upper energizer, the middle energizer, and the lower energizer, which are differentiated into different parts, including different organs in each part. So what the triple energizer does is that it's actually a passageway where qi and blood can flow from one part to the next, and it's basically a whole network that connects everything together. So this is what we call a triple energizer. Now the colon meridian, we call it the large intestine meridian. It regulates the processing and extraction of water from waste. All right. So those three are the yang meridians of our hands. Now let's go to our legs, the lower part of our body. We also have the yin meridians, which are the inner part of your leg. You have these yin meridians. The spleen meridian. The spleen meridian, it helps regulate the quantity and quality of blood in circulation, and it's also responsible for logical and analytical thinking, and it's also the first meridian in memory formation. Now this may seem a little bit complicated, but if you'd like to learn more, you can join me in my course in traditional Chinese medicine, all right? And liver meridian regulates the female reproductive system, the circulation of energy, and it also maintains the flexibility of the ligaments and tendons. So that's why for many female problems, we would target acupuncture points on the liver meridian because it's closely connected to the female reproductive system. Now, lastly, on our legs, on the inner part, we have the kidney meridian, which helps regulate the reproductive system, the testosterone levels, and also helps produce bone marrow and blood. Now, make sure you don't get confused with Chinese medicine meridians and also the blood vessels in conventional medicine because they are totally different things. And now we talk about the yin in our leg, right? Now it's the yang part. The yang part, the first yang meridian on the outer part of our leg is the bladder meridian. The bladder meridian helps regulate the removal of toxins from our body. And next we have the gallbladder meridian. The gallbladder meridian is what regulates the removal of and storage of toxins that are produced by the liver. Now this is very similar to conventional biology because liver and the gallbladder, they are closely connected to each other. So this is pretty much similar. And lastly, the 12th meridian, we have the stomach meridian. So this stomach meridian helps regulate the extraction of nutrients from the food, nutrient distribution to the spleen, intestines, and overall digestion. So if you have any digestion problems, constipation problems, or stomach ache, most times we would use acupuncture points on this meridian to treat those illnesses. Okay? Now next, let's talk about the 12 meridian pathways. So this is how the qi and blood move from one meridian to the next in one single day. All right? So from 3 a.m. to 5 a.m., the qi and blood are in your lungs. All right? And then from 5 a.m. to 7 a.m., the qi and blood starts to move to your large intestines, into your colon. And then to your stomach, 7 to 9 a.m., to your spleen, 9 to 11 a.m., to your heart, 11 to 1 a.m., 11 a.m. to 1 p.m., and your intestines, 1 p.m. to 3 p.m., your bladder, 3 p.m. to 5 p.m., your kidneys, 5 to 7, your pericardium, 7 to 9, now the triple energizer, 9 to 11, gallbladder, 11 to 1, and lastly, we have the liver from 1 to 3. So from this chart, you might be wondering, why are they, is this really true? Does the qi and blood really flow from one meridian to the next within these hours? Now this is according to ancient Chinese medicine scriptures, and it clearly shows that our human body is closely related to the natural world. So it's really dark at night, right? And we're supposed to go to sleep. But right now, most people have erratic lifestyles and they don't sleep even at 3 to 5 a.m. So that's really bad for their liver, it's really bad for their lungs, because at that time, our liver is performing its detoxification. Okay, laser pointer, okay. This part, all right? The liver performs its detoxification at 1 to 3 a.m., the gallbladder 11 p.m. to 1 a.m. So it's ideal that we fall asleep at around 9 to 11 p.m. before the gallbladder starts to work, so our body can properly function and properly detoxify, right? And why is it that we should eat our breakfast at 7 to 9 a.m.? Because that's when the qi and blood are at your stomach meridian, and that means your stomach is working, is at its optimum working potential at that hour. So within those 2 hours, all right? So that's why every day at my home, my dad would tell us to go down to eat breakfast at 7 to 9, because this is the ideal time. No matter how much you eat, you won't, this is according to sources that I've read before, you won't get fat, because during this time your stomach is working really efficiently and it can help you digest very well. So if you follow these meridian pathways, make sure you screenshot this and study more about this if you're interested. And if you follow these, I'm sure that your health will be well regulated and you can be a healthy and perfectly functioning individual. All right, now before we get into the practical, I'd like to share with you guys some gua sha precautions. First, do not shower 3 to 4 hours after gua sha. Do not take cold showers, because if you take cold showers, you might catch a fever. And do not perform gua sha on people who are recovering from surgery, and also on the abdomen of pregnant women. Don't do that. And don't perform gua sha on people with the following conditions: if they're too full, if they're too hungry, too fatigued, or after they consume alcohol, don't perform gua sha on them. Do not perform gua sha on any moles, sores, or scars left from surgery or from previous injuries on your body. Don't perform gua sha on the following areas: the belly button, the eyes, the nose, the mouth, the nipples, the genitalia. Don't perform gua sha there. And avoid direct exposure to an air conditioner or fan during the gua sha session. This is because if you do that, the air, we call it the external pathogen, it's invisible and you can't really see it. It's the qi and the wind all around us. They might, because your pores are open, right? During gua sha, your pores are open, and the wind can enter through your pores and it can affect how your meridians function, and it can make you sick. So don't do that. And it takes at least 1 week for the redness to fade after a gua sha session. So if you have any, if you're a model and you're concerned about showing some different parts of your skin, or if you're concerned about going to an event and showing the redness on your skin, make sure within 1 week don't perform any gua sha, because it takes 1 week for it to fade. And you must try your best to maintain a peaceful and calm mind after a guasha session, because anger, stress, or negative emotions, they might negatively affect the whole therapy. And you must, this is what I do with my dad. We drink a cup of warm water before and after a guasha session to make sure that it can help improve the detoxification process through our sweat and also through urination. Now lastly, rest for 30 minutes after a guasha session before exercising, so you can prevent any damage that might happen afterwards. All right. And now I'll show you a guasha demonstration video, and then we can move on into the guasha. All right.